Hello guys, and welcome to a new tutorial by me. This tutorial is about the Blender Muscle Tools add-on 2.6. And before you watch this video, go to the video description below, pause this video, go to the video description below, click on the link in the description, and this link will lead you to the Blender Market. And if you already purchased this Blender Muscle Tools add-on, you can download you the new version 2.6, which I uploaded today. So don't think that you already downloaded it. I uploaded it today, this day when this video is going online on YouTube. And yeah, when you downloaded this Muscle Tools add-on 2.6, not 2.5, 2.6, then you can go to Preferences and Add-ons, click on Install, go to your desktop and click on Muscle Tools add-on 2.6 new .py, or on the .python file which was coming with your download. Click on Install from File, then you will see this cool thing here. You can click on this little checkbox, and as you can see, the muscle tool options will appear in the top right corner of your screen. So to demonstrate you all the cool new features I built in this Muscle Tools add-on, I have to say sorry for my bad English, but yeah, I hope you can understand me anyway. I am German and it's not that easy for me to speak English all the time. Yeah, but I hope you can understand me anyway. So to present you the new features from this Blender Muscle Tools add-on, I used this cool little beer man I used in earlier presentations or in earlier tutorials for my Blender Muscle Tools add-on. And yes, this is a completely normal rig. It's the Blender meter rig. I can show you this. Here. Okay, what's going on? Well, okay, it's not working. Weird. Well, yeah, in your vision this should work. You just have to click on this option here, Human Meter Rig, and then something like this here will appear. And I bound this to this cool beer man. There's only this Armature Modifier here on it, and I created some I made some vertex groups, well, as you can see here, for all the bones here, so I can move this. And I hope you know what this all means. So vertex groups and yes, armature and skin and etc, etc, because otherwise it will be hard to follow me. Yeah, but anyway, I think if you are interested in muscles in Blender, you should also know what armature and rigging and this stuff all means. Well, okay, let's start. As you can see, as I said already, I have this object here. There's no mesh deform stuff and all the thing that you may see here in my outliner. It's only this beerman group, this spearman and the meter rig. All of the scene light I can hide. Yes, and I'm pretty sure if you come from older versions from Blender, so from 2.7 downwards, then you have noticed that there are some changes in Blender 2.8. I'm pretty sure you did, because 2.8 has now collections, and in earlier versions there were groups, but they were really bad and ugly and not really usable. But now in Blender 2.8 they are collections. So yeah, they are nearly the same like groups, but much better and much better to organize and all the stuff. And I had to rewrite the Blender Muscle Tools add-on to fit all the stuff with the collections now. Oh no, I don't want to listen to my mobile phone now. I just want to teach you the new updates. Yeah, if you clicked on the thing I showed you here on the preferences and this, you should get this cool little interface here. If not, yes, I'm sorry, but this should appear. Yeah, all the options didn't change really much, so there is the muscle options, which was available in earlier versions also, where you can convert your muscles, etc. I think I give you a full introduction and to the Muscle Tools add-on for all the people who didn't get the older versions. So here you can convert an object to a muscle object. For example, if let's hide this ear creature here. If I add a cube and click of use object name, then it will use this name here, this object's name, cube.001. Yeah, for the muscle name. So the muscle is nothing more than an armature, a control empty, and a stretch 2 constraint on the armature, and this object will be parented to the armature, and then you can control stretch, squash and stretch with this object here. So let's put a subdivision surface modifier on it with control 1, or you can go here and click on subdivision surface. Let's apply this, and now we have an object here that we can convert to a muscle. So let's click on this, and as you can see, it becomes a muscle object. Well, I think there's a little problem for now. This is the older version. This is 2.5, so there are some bugs. I created Blender the 2.6 version already, so let me just put it in, open, run. Okay, now this should work better. Yeah, there was some bugs. For example, this the muscle object got squashed when there was nothing happen, and some stuff like this. So just ignore this, and yeah, let's work with this version here. Convert to muscle, and as you can see, everything works fine. There's no squash and stretch like before. There's a group, a collection called cube.001 underscore and dot group, so the object's name, because I used use object name, and then a underscore and group. Then there's an armature in this collection, which is called the object's name underscore armature, and a stretch control, which is called this object's name underscore stretch control. Well, okay, as you can see, when you move this stretch control, or this here, this armature, which is underneath the object, don't listen to my cats. They are screaming because they are hungry, and I will feed them after I do this tutorial. Yeah, Okay, but for now you only have to know that there is a stretch control and an armature which is controlling this object here. And another thing is, if you click on your object, or which is called muscle object now, there are some controls here for the muscle shape and the muscle jiggle. Yep, jip. And these controls are just drivers from internal Blender functions. For example, the muscle subsurf I created here, it's for the resolution, the view resolution. If you can see, if I change this resolution, you can see the viewport resolution changes. The muscle subdivision surface modifier just changes with its driver functions. The render resolution is the same with the render here. All the stuff. The muscle shape, for example, is when you go to your object data tab here, this cool little triangle. There's a cube .001, or the object name underscore thin and underscore fat value. It's very cool. You can, for example, change here the appearance of your muscle, for example, like this. And if you go with your muscle shape to 1, it's going to use the fat shape key. And if you're going to 0, 1, it's going to use the thin shape key. I think it's better if I go to fat and make this really fat, something like this. And with the thin option, I make it thinner. Okay, and as you can see, the shape here changes when I slide this slider here. So you have just to select one of these shape keys and go to edit mode and edit your muscle. Then go to this here and you will see it's going to change. Okay, the Bathe length option is an option where you can define the base length of your muscle. So of this, you can see if you put this empty here. I will make this size here a little smaller. You can do this by going to these little lines here while selecting your empty and to change your size, or while pressing W on your keyboard and click on this here. And yeah, if you go with your empty closer to the start point of your armature, then it's going to squash. And when you change the base length, this armature here is going to squash without moving this, so you have a base length. So, for example, as you can see, if you know what I mean. Just play with this, you will see it's very important when you place your muscles. Then the volume, which defines how big it squashes and stretches. I will overdrive this here, and as you can see, it's much more squashing and stretching than if you just disable this. Whoop. No squash and stretch. Going to 1, there is squash and stretch, and going to 2 or 3, there is much more squash and stretch. Okay, let's leave this at 1. These are the muscle shape options. Then you have the jiggle control. That's really funny. If you click on jiggle and play your animation back, you can see nothing happens. This is everything it does. Nothing. No, just joking. You have to enter a vertex group because Blender now uses the jiggle soft body functions here in Blender. Yeah, they also made some changes by renaming the different options here, but let's just ignore this for now and go to our object data where the shape keys are. And here is an option called vertex group, and there is a empty space under it. And you can define where the muscles are sticking. So for example, if you click on this here, this vertex group, and the opposite, for example, just for example, you can feel free, whatever you do. Then you have to add a new vertex group while selecting this, of course. Add a new vertex group. It's normally called group. Doesn't matter what you call it. In my case, I call it pin group. So it's pinned at these vertices. So everything jiggles instead of these little dots here. So click assign, and then you have this vertex group here. If you just deselect everything, or and then click on select, you can see it selects the vertex group. Then let's go to the under the jiggle menu. You can see the vertex group, field here, and you can click on pin. Now let's see if something happens. No. Oh yes, it happens. Well, and as you can see, at the spots where we created this pin thing, spin vertex group, it holds there's no jiggling, and it holds the object at these points. Well, it also squashes and stretches, but it looks terrible, if I can say this. I will smooth this here, so it's not that harsh here. Just press W on your keyboard and click Shade Smooth. And yes, looks very ugly. There are some controls. For example, the control option. If you increase this to 1, you can see there's no jiggle at all. And if you put this down to 0, it's out of control. And you can see it's the completely opposite. Yeah. This is the case if you don't train your muscles. They will become like this animation here. If you put the control, for example, up to 0.9, you can see it's much more stiff. But this stiffness, so it's much more in control of the movement. The mass defines how heavy this muscle is. So let's put it to 1. It's like an auger muscle or a dinosaur muscle or something like this. And you put this to muscle dot 1, for example. It's a light muscle, just like a I don't know, a light muscle. Let's put this back to 0.5, so it's the middle. Control back to 0.8. As you can see, this looks quite cool. Yes, I will feed you in a second, little cat. Be patient. And the damping is we didn't. There's also the stiffness. The stiffness is, as you can see, how stiff this is. If you put the stiffness down, you can see it's very and if you put the stiffness down to up to 1, it's very stiff. Yeah. The damping is the damping of the jiggling. So as you can see, it's damping all the movements. It looks like a crushed can. Yeah, and it's damping all the stuff here. Well, let's put this all to reset this all to the default value. Perfect. Okay, perhaps the damping a little higher. So this is here the muscle jiggle option. So there's not more that you have to know about the muscle options. So because there isn't much more to know about them. These were also all the options. With this here, you can change if the jiggle is if the jiggle is available in the viewport or if it's available in the render. If you uncheck this, you have only jiggle in the viewport. So just here, and if you uncheck this, you have only jiggle when you render it. I think it's very important when you have much muscles and you just want to render all the stuff, and yeah, don't waste your memory when playing back your animation inside of Blender. Well, let's uncheck this, or if you just don't want to, make this here checked. Okay. Well, then there's a possibility to create muscle objects inside of this muscle creator. So there are some options here which I will show you in a second. So, but when you have your muscle here and all the stuff here is set, and yeah, there are many drivers on this object, and as you can see, a stretch control and an armature and much data. And if you want to get rid of it and just say I don't want this muscle here anymore, you can click on delete muscle attributes either, or you can just select everything and press delete. But I think to make this much more comfortable and delete all the unnecessary data, you can click delete muscle attributes. Everything is gone. Yes, cool. Well, there's the muscle creator. This muscle creator is useful when you want to create a muscle object not by your own, because muscles all most cases, oh hello cat, I love you. In most cases there is the muscle looks the same. So if you click on create muscle object, you can see this is a basic muscle. Muscles in most cases they all look the same. So for example with a different radius, yes. Oh, this was a little too less. With a different radius or a larger size. Yeah, but all in all they look the same. You can enter a name here. They look the same. You can enter a name. And if you want to make the muscle gain, you can change the values. Yes, the smooth value is just a subdivision surface modifier which is applied on this muscle here. So if you just make this to 0, it will delete this, and if you go to 3, for example, it will add a subdivision surface modifier with 3. And if you click on convert, this is very you have to take care of this. Every little modifier becomes deleted. I don't know if this is correctly said, but anyway, becomes deleted. Wait a second, I will just throw my cats out of the room. They are disturbing. Wait a second. Okay, back again. Yes, but this is very easy to understand, these options here. So if you want to enter, for example, biceps R, to get an overview of my muscles, I already call them muscle_biceps.r. So every object which is called muscle is a muscle object, so I can get a better overview over this, also with the collections which are created. Yeah, so let's delete the subdivision surface here and make the scale to 1 and leave all the options at their predefined values. So if you click update muscle, you can see the object becomes renamed muscle underscore biceps.r. Well, and if you want to convert this object to a muscle, you can either add a new name here inside this box. Then you have to disable this box here, and in this text box you can enter a name, then this muscle will be renamed, or you can click use object name and then it will use this muscle biceps.r name here to create your muscle. So click this, and as you can see, it's called muscle underscore biceps.r underscore group. And here it's called muscle underscore biceps.r underscore amateur stretch control. Yes. Okay. Perfect. So I think this was clear. This is clear what this all means here, and I hope you got it. Now, I put in the video description a jump to number where you can jump to the point in the video, and exactly now where I talk about the new features from the Blender Muscle Tools add-on. So yeah, but there's also the slide bind, which was also in the older versions. Okay, I will just quickly explain this, and after that I will tell you the new stuff I made in the Muscle Tools add-on. Okay, there's the slide bind option. Let's see. Okay. The slide bind option is the regular option when you want to bind your muscle here to a skin object. So for example, if you have your muscles, they work wonderful, you can change all your stuff here, but you want them to be applied to a skin object. For example, a plane. I think a plane is very good to show. So let's add a plane to show you all the cool stuff you can do with the Muscle Tools add-on. Subdivide this plane. You add a plane when you press Shift and A, and then you get to mesh, and there's a plane which is here. Then you go to edit mode by pressing tab, and then press W and press subdivide. So there's much more vertex information to show you the effect this muscle has on your skin object. So select your muscle object, click muscle, then go to your muscle window here. Then you have the slide bind option. To make this work, it requires, like in this description told, that you have to first select the muscle and then the skin. So let's do this. We have here our muscle. Let's select the muscle and then select the skin and press slide bind. And as you can see now, you jump into the weight paint mode, and a shrink wrap modifier is added. This shrink modifier is so adjusted that you don't have to do anything to make this work. If you want to adjust here some options like the offset, etc., you can do this, of course, but the shrink wrap modifier is going to work here. Then you have to go to your draw options here. First, you have to notice that on your skin object, so with skin object, the object where the muscle affects the object is meant. Okay, this was a complicated sentence, but yeah, it's the plane. For example, the skin object is now the plane because we have the and you know what I mean. And then you have the there's a vertex group called muscle biceps R slide. So because it's a slide bind. So there's a slide vertex group, and this vertex group defines where the muscle affects the skin. So when you go to your tools option, you jump into the vertex weight paint mode, and then you have your tools option here, where you can add weight to your plane. Let's just do this. And as you can see, the plane changed. All the stuff is lifted up here. And if you now select your, you can see something has happened. Something has happened. If I would hide this muscle here, yes, with H, and you can see it worked. So this was the only way how the muscles worked in earlier versions. So if you want to take away some weight, you can do this also here with this option, and the muscle is also only affecting the area where the weight is painted to the plane. You have to subdivide your plane, so the subdivide, W subdivide, because there is, otherwise there's missing data. The data that is required to deform the plane. So subdivide it and everything is going to be like here. You can put the plane out of the muscle biceps group if you want to. Yes. So this was the stuff the Blender Muscle Tools add-on was capable of in earlier versions. Now I was smart and added a new bind method. This is called a dynamic bind, and I know in earlier versions the Muscle Tools add-on was very, very problematic when it comes to areas for your character. For example, imagine this is an arm. Here there's the shoulder, this is the breast, and here's the body, for example. Imagine this is an arm, and for example, if you have placed a muscle here, and there, and you made this arm, and you pulled this arm down, then there were some problems, because the shrink wrap modifier is not the best idea for using this muscle things here. So there was some problems in this area, and it looks very terrible, and you could fix it, but it was not capable to hold volume very well. So, but Blender has changed in this new option, and there was a very, very cool change in Blender. It completely changed the class simulator. Yes, the class simulator. And this is the point where I'm going to tell you something about the new features from the Blender Muscle Tools add-on. So the new feature is the dynamic bind. And because there were problems in the, like the problems I showed you a second before, for example, the crushing here when you have your arm, etc. There is a there is a new method I found out. For example, I found out, and it's called this dynamic bind here. So to show you this, I'm going to select this muscle here and delete it. I add here my character with the armature. It's very, very gigantic, I know. But let's see what this dynamic bind option here does. So first, let's create a muscle. Let's call this muscle, for example, biceps. Biceps underscore, oh no, muscle underscore biceps dot R for dot L for left, and make the smooth down to 0, and the size is okay. Perhaps let's make the radius a little smaller. Yes, okay, that's cool. Okay, update, and then let's convert this to a muscle, use object name muscle biceps.l, convert, then you have this cool thing here. And now let's add this Beerman character here to move this muscle here and bring it in place. Oh, wait, there's also one cool thing I didn't mention. In the new version, I know it's very small change, but I think it's worth that I tell you it. There were the problem that because of the screw modifier that is used to build this muscle here, there were the problem that all these little vertices here were disconnected, so there were much vertices just compressed to this little spot here, and this was very bad. So I just changed this. Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool little change, and I think I should tell you this. Yeah, but let's go. Yeah, when you want to place this muscle here, it's cool and easy now. In the group it was very hard. You have to select every little thing here and then pull this to the position where you want it to be. Here you just have to select your collection, right click, select objects, press G, rotate it, for example. Take care that you disable individual origins here, because when you do this you can see something weird happens. Every little individual object is going to rotate by its own origin. So click bounding box center and everything is going to work correctly. And position this here, for example, rotate this by 90 degrees on the z-axis and bring this here where this muscle belongs, for example. I will do this here quickly for my character. Put it here. Yeah, I think it's okay there. Let's leave it at this position. Well, then you have to hide your character quickly. Click on your armature for this muscle, then select the armature where this armature is going to connect, so where the start of your muscle is going to be connected, for example at this bone here. Control P and bone, and as you can see, it's connected. And then connect the end spot here, the empty. You can make this a little smaller here, this little icon, and put this where the end of the muscle is going to be connected. For example, let's put this here, bone, and as you can see now it worked. It works just like a normal muscle has to work. Zoop, 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 zoop. Perfect. Let's add the Beerman here again. Let's see what happens. Zoop. As you can see, everything is going to work as expected. Put this here, for example, a little outwards or inwards, so there's more deformation available here, just like this. Well, that looks cool. And let's change the parameters from the muscle here a little. For example, the volume to 2, the base length to 0.10. Now you can see what the base length does. You have a smaller area that the muscle, where the muscle affects the skin. Well, and you can see the volume is increasing and the range from the end of the armature to the start of the armature is a little shorter. Let's, for example, just change the muscle shape here. Go to your shape keys, go to fat and increase this here. I'll make this a little fatter. Chip. This looks wonderful. Yes, perfect. Well, As I said you before, in earlier versions it was so that there you can change, you can select, and it's now also the case, you can select your muscle, then your skin. So with the skin, the character, with the skin I mean the character. Wait a second, I will make this muscle here X-ray so you can see the muscle through the skin. In earlier version this option was called X-ray, and this version it's called in front. So let's click in front here, and you can see the muscle is in front of everything. If you don't want this muscle to be in front anymore, you can just deselect this. Yeah, but for now it looks cool. Yes, you just had to, in earlier versions you just had to select the muscle, then the skin, then click to slide bind, and then a shrink wrap modifier is applied to this creature here, and you can paint weights, and yes, it will just work. But in areas, for example, like this one here, where you put the muscle down, there were some very critical areas, very problematic problems, which made it impossible for you to hold volume in a character. So in the Blender Muscle Tools add-on, this isn't the case anymore, because we have the new dynamic bind option, and this new dynamic bind option works with the brand new updated cloth simulator in Blender. And with the cloth simulator you can create also realistic skin, as I saw. Yes. Okay, to do this, we will going to work with the dynamic bind option. You will always see the deformation when you play your animation back. This is the only disadvantage. I think it's called this way. I think you know what I mean. The only disadvantage from this bind method. So let's select, like in with slide bind. First the muscle, then the skin, click on dynamic bind, and everything is collapsing. Wait a second, I will just look what the problem. Okay, I know it for now. It's not really a problem, it was just because of this cursor here, it is in the middle, and if you add a cloth simulation, then the object is of course falling down like cloth. Yeah. So let's put this cursor here to the beginning, and if you don't do this, it's not really that problematic. I will show it to you. If you go to 50 here and select your muscle and then your skin, click on dynamic bind, it's going to fall down, but if you go to the beginning here, it will spring back or jump back to your normal position. So as you can see, if I just lift the forearm, nothing happens. This should not be. So how does this work? Principally there's a cloth modifier now on your character. So if you go to your simulation settings, you can see there's now cloth modifier, a cloth simulation on your character. To make this work, there's now also a collision physics. There are now collision physics on your muscle. And combine, if you have collision objects inside of a cloth object, they collide with your object, your skin object, of course. And you can make this, you can use this technique if you work with vertex groups. So, just to make this easy, select your muscle object, then select your skin object, click on this cool option here, and then the muscle becomes a collision object, and the skin object, in this case the beer man, becomes a cloth object. Now there's a new vertex group. When you go back to your object data menu, under the vertex groups menu, there's at the very bottom of your vertex groups a vertex group called empty dynamic skin. So muscle tools dynamic skin. And if we go to our weight paint mode, go back here to our vertex group, empty dynamic skin, you can see the complete object is red. This is because the cloth simulator works different. So if everything is red, everything is pinned, so everything works here with the armature and nothing is falling down because everything is pinned, so everything is red. But if you, let's go back here to the unaffect the area where the muscle is, for example, in this case the muscle is here, the biceps. I go back to solid and draw the area here with the subtract pen, subtract brush, blue, then I think you know what I'm going to do. Otherwise it's not that bad. I will just explain it to you. And then let's blur this a little. Jip, jip, jip. Then this area is affected by the cloth simulation. So if this is affected by the cloth simulation, everything that is colliding with the cloth simulation is colliding with the cloth simulation. And then you have some cool muscle physics, and they are also working perfectly. Also, they are volume holding. So let's just play this back, and as you can see, if I move this, there are muscle physics. You can also change some parameters here in the cloth simulator. For example, here, just look around what this cloth simulation is doing. I will just increase the quality steps so this problem isn't anymore. The impulse clamping, this is also very, very cool. So you have to take care of this collision tab here. Let's make this quality back up to 15 and increase the impulse clamping. The distance value, for example, is good if you want to have a higher distance between your muscle and your object. So if I put this to, for example, this could be fat. This could be called fat. So there's a fat distance from the skin to the muscle. And yes, I just thought about to put also some values here and put them into this muscle simulator or into the muscle tools add-on. And when you click on your skin object, then there is, for example, skin or fat, and then you can change the distance. And for example, smoothing, then you can increase the impulse clamping. So the impulse clamping is a very cool option where you can define a value. So let's look into the description. Clamp collision impulses to avoid instability. This is very cool because, as you saw before, there were some problems. And another cool thing is when you add a subdivision surface modifier and put this cloth under it, it's smoothing out the result. Also, the most useful thing is, I think, when you just increase your what's it called? You just increase your vertex number. So then there's not a big problem. So, but as you can see, now this is going to work much better. It's very slow, but as you can see, it works. If you don't want this to affect too much of a range, you can go to weight paint. Go back to your empty dynamic skin and just subtract, oh no, in this case add here something back. Or you can combine also the slide bind option, which is much more better in areas where the muscle is, for example, the biceps, and the dynamic bind option for the pectoralis major, or for the deltoid, or for areas where the object is going to hold volume. So, but for example, now, as you can see, if I pull this up, you can see the biceps is going to work. And this is really cool. I will show you this because it's really cool, because you can actually change the skin settings. So if you just want to have the skin to have a different behavior, you can, for example, go to the physical properties, change the damping to 20, the compression to 20, so the tension and the compression is damped. There isn't much of a jiggling, etc., or flackering. And for example, just put this impulse clamping to 1. And as you can see, it worked much better. So it's all a thing of blending between the, let's blur this here so it's not that harsh. Let's play this back. You can see it becomes affected. Try average perhaps. Blur this out. No. Add something back here. And blur this out. And if you add some more vertices, it will look much better, I think. And if you play this back, you can see everything looks very cool. You can also put some new muscles on it. For example, let's just do this quickly with the deltoid muscles. So let's add a new muscle object. So, for example, disable the beer man in this one. Call this muscle deltoid. L, so it's the shoulder muscle. Convert this, and you have a deltoid muscle here. And then switch your beerman, make it visible. Select your objects, rotate this by negative 90 degrees, put this up, put this here, scale this bigger. Yes. Now let's just change the muscle. Make this here. Put it away. Let's change the muscle, for example. Let's change the shape. Fat shape. Let's make this a little fatter. The cool thing is you can blend between the extremes. Well, I think it's taking a little too long. I will feed the cats. I'm back. Okay. Yes, now they got their dinner. Well, let's see. This looks quite good. Let's add this empty here to the upper arm. As you can see, this worked. Put this parent this here to the shoulder, and as you can see, now it's squashing and stretching and stays at its position. Let's see. Go to pose mode. Well, this works. We could also go here back to our modifiers and yeah, uncheck the cloth simulation, so you can see the difference. For example, if you would now you can see which volume gets holded. So if you put this up, there is the skin going inwards, but this is not the case. When you lift your arm, you can see that your skin is bulging over your muscle, and this is the effect we want to get. So let's go back. I hope it's not too much theoretical what I say to you, but it's this thing it's the thing that Blender uses, and I hope I could make this more understandable for you. So let's bring this more here, I think. Let's take a look. This is mostly then, this muscle here is mostly then used when the upper arm is lifted up. So, okay. So let's see, let's bind this with our dynamic bind option to our skin. Let's click dynamic bind. Everything worked as expected. Let's go to weight paint, switch back to solid mode, go back to our empty dynamic skin. In this, so you have to remember that the empty dynamic skin vertex group is just one vertex group. When you put when you add the slide bind, for every individual muscle there is a vertex group added, because the shrink wrap modifier is individual. So there are, for example, 7-8 individual shrink wrap modifiers added if you create a slide bind. If you create the dynamic bind, there is only one vertex group which defines in which area of your mesh the cloth simulation is going to work. So for example, let's just put here, oh no, let's see where the muscle is, put the release some of the pinning here, create a blur just to see the effect. Of course you can add jiggle, etc. and this stuff, but it should only then be added when you're sure that this worked, that this works. So let's add the cloth modifier back and play this back and see what happens. As you can see, now there's a bulge for your, you can see it's a little laggy. I think it's also much better when you just first animate your character and do the stuff and then add your muscles, because or you just yeah, first put your muscles, then animate your character, and then adjust all the stuff to make sure that the muscles are placed correctly and yeah, all the skin is working, etc. And now, if you can see, as you can see, the volume gets holded without a problem. Looks very cool. There's a bulge. Yeah, it's very big, so let's just, for example, oh yes, decrease the volume, or let's just add the thin shape here. Make this a little thinner. Okay, now it has sometimes, or often there comes, when you animate this back, you can see there are some problems like this. This is because if you have this, you can just switch back to the beginning, or you can let this run through your timeline, this thing here, and then it will start from beginning and recalculate everything, and this should look better. So let's see the change. As you can see, it holds volume perfectly. Wonderful. So I think this is a big improvement to Blender muscle tools. Yeah, let's just add a muscle for the pectoralis. For if you want, you can add 3 muscles here. Like in reality, the deltoid is made out of 3 muscles. I'm pretty sure it is. Let me take a look. Yeah. The deltoid is made out of 3 muscles. As you can see here, 1, 2, and behind of this there's a 3rd muscle. So you can just add them and then paint your weights, and everything should work as expected. I also made some animations for you, and yes, I know the video is also already 1 hour long, but I think it would be great if you would see yeah, a clear description of how this muscle tools work, and you can see at the end of the video what is going to happen when you add all the stuff here. Where are the annotations? Here. Okay. Okie dokie. Where's the biceps? Here. Let's hide the biceps, let's hide deltoid, and let's add a new muscle. And this muscle is called the pectoralis. The pectoralis, and let's call this muscle underscore pectoralis major dot L, convert to muscle, and you have a new muscle here. Also, the pectoralis is made out of 3 or more muscles, all yeah, in these lines, and yeah, you can just do what you want, how you want it to do, but it's all it's the same procedure every time. So let's click on the pectoralis Mario group, right click, select objects, and bring it to the correct place. Let's see, rotate it so it looks good, make it a little bigger. I think this one should be very big because I just make 1, not 3. So this should be a massive muscle. Massive muscle. Scale this empty a little down. Back to wireframe. Select this empty, then select here your bone. Let's see. Okay, it works. Sorry. For the moment, let's disable the modifier, the cloth modifier in the viewport. See what it does. Okay, it looks cool. It looks cool. Put this back. Parent this end here to the chest. Okay, like this. Chest parent, and as you can see, now this works also. Well, looks cool. Now our muscle system is going to become a real muscle system. You can put also some muscles here, and yeah, I'm pretty sure you're very creative with this. But yeah, I think it's really cool. You can do much things with it also here and here. You can combine the slide bind and the dynamic bind options. Annotations, delete them. Okay. Bring back our beer monster. Then first this muscle, then the skin and dynamic bind. Go back to our vertex group, empty dynamic skin, and weight paint. Draw, and let's subtract something from here. When it's completely blue, there is 100% 100% from the cloth simulation going on. So let's blur this out a little. And let's take a look. Okay. Well, perfect. Can you see it? There is the muscle. I think you can see the difference when I switch. Yeah, you can see it. You can see how cool the volume gets holded here. This looks terrible. This looks wonderful. Also, cool thing you can do is add a, where is it? Smooth correction modifier on top of this. Press length and you can see the difference. Looks cool? Yes, it does. So this is also a cool trick you can do. Smooth correction modifier, just to smooth all the cool things here out. But yeah, you can do what you want to. But the main thing is that the muscles are working correctly. So you can also make them jiggly. What you want to do. Now let's just add one muscle here. The trapezius. However you want this to be called, here in the neck area. And you can also add a muscle here, the latissimus, the trapezius, etc. What you want to add, it's completely your thing. Let's just delete the annotations. Add a new muscle. Muscle, create muscle object. This is called trapezius. Okay, I think this are completely right. Trapezius.l. Some guys just asked me if I could oh, well, let's make the radius this time a little less smooth completely out. Some guys asked me recently to add a mirror to the muscles, and I have to say I won't do this for now, at least, because I don't know how this works. I don't know how I can mirror all these muscles to the opposite side. I think it will be very, very time consuming to program this, at least when you bring all this stuff to the opposite side, create all the new objects on the different side, and for example, sorry, I don't know the words for now, but for example, if you have your arms both down and then mirror them, they have to change, or they have to mimic the position from when they are in the original position. So when the I don't get it. Okay. When the object is here, now the muscles have to be mirrored to the opposite side, and this is very hard, I think, at least for me. If you know this better and you can do this, and you just want to do this, I'm sorry, 1 hour of talking is very, very frustrating, especially when you're talking in a foreign language. Then you're free to do it. Just do it. Just make an awesome, cool script out of it. And yeah, I would be very glad if you would do it, because then this would be, I think, much easier to just make one side of the muscles and then copy it to the opposite side. It would be really helpful, I think. So let's change the shape. Oh, I changed the base shape. Oh, it doesn't matter. It looks cool. Okay. Let's select our controller here, make it a little smaller, and I don't know where should I connect this to? Either to the neck or to the head. Let me think. Trapezius. I think it's connected to the neck. So let's do it. Cool. And then this armature here is going to be connected to the shoulder. Yes, that looks cool. Let's make the volume a little more and the base length a little more. Okay, this looks awesome. I just also made some animations with this rig here, some actions, which I could just run, and then all the muscles should respond correctly. But for now, just let's select our muscle, then select our character and click dynamic bind. Then go to our character, empty dynamic skin, go to weight paint, solid, and just draw some cool colors here. Blur this out a little more. It looks a little more realistic. Just like this here, I think. This looks cool. And then go back here. Deselect all muscles. Cloth is active. Okay. Oh, yes. They hide it. Oh, yes. Okay. This is an animal. You can bake this, of course. Oh, yes, that's a little too big, I think. Okay, let's just decrease the volume, for example, and yeah, let's make this a little thinner, but this time with this shaky here. Okay. It's thinner so you can control this better. Okay. And then let's smooth this out here at the top. I think this looks a little too harsh. White paint. Dynamic skin. Blur this out. Oh, let's just add some color here, so it don't affect too much from it. And yeah. To make sure it's smoothed out, you can really just add a smooth correction modifier. And as you can see, it will be corrected. Length, weight. The factor defines how much it will be corrected. As you can see, it works completely fine. Now everything gets jiggled and screwed up. Let's wait till it springs back to the beginning and everything is going to work as expected. Now, okay, when we did it, there are some problems, I think, with the playback animation. If you play this back, it's really slow, really slow. So go back to the cloth simulation and cache this. So let's first animate this and then cache this. So let's just to show you how this looks. Deactivate the cloth, for example, for a second, then you can animate this. Let's, I don't know, first let him put the arm up, bow this, stretch his neck. Oh no, this, just an example how it can look. Sorry, then perhaps this way. And then he will bring his arms down, for example, like this. Just a quick animation to show how the deformation look like. And then bring it back into position. Well, cool. Not that fancy. All the fancy animations I prepared for you. Well, not that fancy, but I think they look much more interesting than this one here. Well, okay, let's go to the cache of the cloth. Let's select the spear object, skin object, change the end to 120, so it will cache from 0 to 120, so that the simulation is not that laggy. And let's see how it looks. I hope really much that it looks good. Check this. Corrective smooth is on. And let's see. Bake. Well, I will pause it while it's baking, and after it's baked, I will come back. Okay, let's see how it looks. Yeah, I think it looks really cool. Looks like a real muscle system. Yes, it is a real muscle system. And after this, you can also change the factor, so to make it, I don't know, smoother, or repeat the stuff, or yeah, make your changes. I don't know. Yeah, leave this at 5. Especially in this area, it's a little problematic. Either you put a muscle here and here, just like like it would be in real life, and then yeah, it should be look very good. Or you put a muscle, or you put the slide bind here, because when you put the slide bind option here, then there won't be this bulge here. It looks a little terrible, but yeah. Or you make, as I said, some muscles here in this area. But anyway, it looks quite good. I can show you this without the cloth simulation. Yes, well, and without the muscles. And now with. Looks much more like muscles. You also can make the muscles jiggle, but I will leave this to you, this decision. Yeah, but I think it looks very cool. For example, the especially the volume holding here. And with the jiggle, I think you can make a lot of cool stuff. Well, let's just try it. So to not let my computer explode, I will just disable this and add some jiggling for each muscle. And let's see. I think every muscle should get a pin vertex group. So let's just quickly do it. Pin, assign, pin, assign, pin, assign, and finally pin, assign. Let's see. Nothing happens. let's just see. Oh yes, we just have to assign the vertex groups. Okay, and yes, now they look more or less okay, but they are jiggling at least. 0.8. Let's just copy the values. Make the mass a little higher. Sign. Oh, okay, now it's jiggling. Stiffness a little lower. And let's increase the resolution of every muscle so that they look, for example, for this muscle we could increase the stiffness and the damping. Yeah. Yes, it's very extreme because you should see the difference. Damping and control. The stiffness perhaps a little much more. And now let's bake this and see how it looks. Put the Beerman back in at the cloth simulation and recalculate the bake. Delete, bake, and see you in a second. Okay, back again. Let's see what we got here. Okay, you can see the jiggle, I hope. Yes. It worked exactly as expected. Without the corrective smooth, there are some problems here, but with the corrective smooth, they are also blown away. Perfect. Well, yeah, I hope this gave you a good introduction of how this Muscle Tools add-on works. I will just delete the bake, and then I will show you some more animations I did, and then I will wait a second. I have I will delete or I will hide the muscle with the cloth, and then I made here some actions. First the arms got scaled. Yes, this is the first animation. It's not that good because the armature here is not the best one. Yes, it's a very basic armature rig. Then there's a second animation. Well, let's just see how they look with the muscles. Let's put them on here. Let's see. Oh well, what's wrong with you guys? You don't do what you should do. Well, delete all bakes. Yeah, okay. Well, why are they not baked? I don't know, there's something with the bake here wrong. I will take a look and yeah, I will show you how the animation looks in a second. Okay, I got the problem. There's some updating error. You just have to select the muscle. It's the last one that where I didn't make this, and yeah, press G or something like this, and they will jump to their original position. So yeah, okay. Well, I will bake this, and I will show you in a second how this looks. Well, now we got the second animation. As you can see, it looks really cool. I will just show you how this looks without the muscles. Not that exciting. And with, you can see the difference, especially here. Yeah, I think there is a big difference. Okay, yes, I'm really proud of this animation. I'm really proud of this, not this animation, I'm really proud of this, of these muscle behaviors. They look awesome. Okay, and now let's see what we got with the last animation. And this is very complex, so let's see what we got there. Okay. Oh, well, this is already, Yes, I will do this. Wait a second. Well, this is the last bake. You can see also with this very quick animation here, it's really stable. There's no problem. You can see the difference. Here's the muscle, obviously, and there's no muscle. And yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. Yeah, I'm very proud of it. This is better than I'd expected, to be honest. It's really awesome. Well, let me bake this here. And as you can see, this is without the muscle. Let me just hide the muscles here. Shoop. And this is with the muscles. You can see also in these critical areas, everything just works perfectly. Yes. Okay. Yeah, just in this area perhaps you could add a muscle here. For example, the connection between the head and the neck. Yeah, but I think you can make some cool stuff with it, and I hope you will do some very fancy stuff with your muscles, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed everything else. Just leave me a comment how you found this tutorial, and perhaps if there's something one could improve, or just some critique, or etc. And if there are questions, don't hesitate to ask. Yes. I wish you all the best, and God bless you, Jesus bless you, and I hope we see us in the next tutorial video or whatever. Well, see you and bye.